You're listening to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast with Jody Livingston and Chris Trent, episode number 80.
Welcome to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast, helping you survive and thrive in youth ministry. And now, your hosts, Jody Livingston and Chris Trent.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the show today. Thanks for tuning in with us wherever you are and wherever this finds you. Thanks for making this podcast today a part of your day. If it's your first time checking out the show, welcome. We are super glad you're here. And if you are coming back again for more, welcome on back. We're grateful to have you.
And if you've come back 80 times, wow. Wow. That's unbelievable that this is number 80 there, Jody. That's cool.
That is cool. Big milestone. Yeah, so here we are, still rolling. Fun episode today. Don't know that we'll have any links and resources, but if we do, they'll be in the show notes page at thelongerhaul.com/episode 080. And of course, if you enjoy the show, make sure you subscribe to it on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Join the super secret podcast group. Find us and follow us wherever finding and following is found. Instagram at Jody Livingston, Chris Trent. Facebook, The Longer Haul. Yeah.
Good times. Yeah, people know all that stuff already.
I know, but I feel like I have to say it because maybe they don't. Maybe it's their first time listening.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, hey, he's Jody. I'm Chris. We're a couple youth pastors. One's in Atlanta, Georgia. That would be me. One is in
California.
The desert.
Hey man, it's been raining lately.
Really? You've been getting some rain.
The desert is green.
It's not the desert anymore. So yeah, man, we've known each other for a little while now. Been doing this for a little while. Used to live in the same town. Jody moved to California. But mainly, man, our goal is to help youth pastors and youth workers reach teenagers for Christ. And so we try to talk about things that'll help you do this for a long time, both in your current church, hopefully experiencing longevity there, and then also hopefully long-term if you decide to do youth ministry as a career. I'm looking at 50 here pretty soon there, brother. I'm about a year and a half. How about that? Bam, 50. What?
Such a young buck. Just getting started, really.
I feel like it, yeah. So good times, man. You doing all right? Life good out there in California? You're lying. Things are terrible right now. Tell everybody what's going on in your house right now.
Yeah, everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. So far, it's me and the boy. We're the only two standing. Yeah. Still standing. Everybody's cycling through.
It's California-itis is what it is. It's some kind of California thing.
I don't know what it is. It's not fun, though.
Yeah.
People throwing up everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll appreciate us calling it all out on the podcast. We have some amazing people who love what we do, and we love what they do. YM360, they are an amazing provider of youth ministry, Bible study curriculum, devotionals, Disciple Now resources, youth leader development, summer camp, everything. They do it all related to youth ministry. If you're looking for someone you can trust that loves teenagers, that's one of the things I love about them, man. They all work with teenagers as well as providing great resources. So if you're looking for some of that stuff, man, check them out at YM360, and you could use a Longer Haul promo code. Just use the promo code Longer Haul, and you'll get 20% off. Some exclusions apply, of course, right? Because you can't use it for camp like Jody's always talking about. Because
I don't know. No one has said they tried it and it didn't work.
Nobody should try it. It's not going to work. But other cool stuff like amazing books about longevity, stuff like that, you can get 20% off. Happy to share that. So good times, man. So that's that.
Okay, we have a really fun topic you've been talking about for a long time today. So I'm not going to tell them what it is yet. We're just going to go into it.
Let's jump into it.
All right, here we go.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Okay, so you've been talking about this for a long time. You've been wanting to do this for a really long time. And I don't know. We weren't like necessarily against it. We just were doing other things. So we figured new year, fun start, especially because the last few episodes have been fairly serious. Or some might say boring. No, I wouldn't say that though.
They're not boring. You're crazy. They're great.
No, I never think you're boring. So we're gonna do it today. Today's the day, man. How happy are you?
I'm happy. I'm happy.
So tell them what it is, Bob. Tell them what they've won.
That's funny. No, so we've worked it all up, and it's going to be like boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
No, I have been wanting to touch base for a little bit. I'm not full disclosure. I don't watch this every night or every day. First of all, I never watch it at night live because I don't stay up this late. But I've been, like a lot of people, I catch up on Hulu or watch clips of things. And today we're going to talk about Jimmy Fallon's rules for a great youth ministry. That's right, friends. Jimmy Fallon's rules for a great youth ministry. Now, of course, Jimmy Fallon doesn't really have rules for youth ministry. But if you've watched any of his clips on any of the type of games he plays, any type of interviews he does, who he is, what he's all about, I think there are some amazing lessons there to learn from this guy. I have said jokingly that he is pretty much a youth pastor without Jesus in a youth group, and I have no idea if he knows Jesus or not, but so I'm not making a judgment on that. And I'm also, this is not like a big moral promotion for the show. Obviously, he's going to be interviewing people who are all over the map. But that said, this is more so just hey, this would be some things that we could learn from watching his show. Do you ever watch some of the clips and stuff, Jody?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, who doesn't?
Sure,
right?
Everybody does.
Surely there's, I mean, I think most people do, and the games that he does, all that type of stuff.
And we know he listens to the podcast. So Jimmy will, if Chris is wrong, if Chris is wrong, just email me. Yeah. And you can come on the show and correct Chris.
That would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen. So seriously though, here's the thing. I've got 5 little things here that I think are pretty solid. Like, they're pretty solid things that we can learn from the way he does things that I think will make a huge positive impact in the way you are a youth pastor and the way you do youth ministry. So, Jody, you ready to learn something there, brother? Because I'm about to take you to school. What? Okay, you ready? Here it is. All right, number 1.
Whoa, what is
I'm
that?
I'm sitting at my desk and my phone just rang. Sorry about that.
That's fantastic. Number 1.
Recording during the day. And also, side note, it's like,
and in the morning. It's really early.
It's really early there in California. It's not my fault you moved to California. Okay.
Okay. I'll call you later tonight.
Here's number 1. Number 1 rule for a great youth ministry is something that he does, and that is this: every bit, every game, everything that he does, every crazy song that he records is the best thing ever. Have you ever noticed that about the way he does stuff? Like, he acts like this what you're about to watch is the best thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this game, like this game. We're just squirting each other in the face with, or we're smacking eggs over our heads or whatever. But this is the best thing you've ever played, ever. And so I think one thing that when I saw that, and after I've watched that for several years now, one of the things I love about that is I think there's something to the excitement level that he brings to that. And I think if we can act like every lesson, every message, every game, if we can treat that, I don't mean take it over the top and be cheesy. You can't fake that if you don't have that in the same way. But if you walk into a lesson thinking, yeah, or if you walk into a game going, yeah, I think it's going to show. But if you walk into it acting like, dude, this is going to be amazing, I just think it's contagious. Do you think it's contagious?
For sure. When I used to train staff, when I was a teen director at the Y, I used to tell them all the time, if your game fails, it's because of you. Like, you have to sell that. I don't care how much you love kickball. It's got to be in the moment, your favorite and your best, because that's what makes it what it is. So 100% agree.
Yeah, and I think the excitement plays out also strong, even when you are doing lessons and stuff as well. And I would even, if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive there, I would even say if you happen to be in a setting where you are using curriculum of some type, that there's a chance that if you know that you're kind of on a rotation where you're teaching basically whatever they're telling you to teach, and if you go into a particular Sunday going, ugh, this lesson's boring this week,
Yeah.
you allow that, like during a Sunday school type setting, if your church does Sunday school or whatever, or even if, let's say, the pastor, I know this would never happen to anybody, right? But the pastor decides, oh, we're all going to do the same thing. We're all going to cover this topic this week. And you go into that like, oh, yeah,
I think the other thing on that is when, especially teaching wise, like if you're teaching something, whether it's curriculum, whether it's something you've done, right, or you've put together yourself, if it's not done out of like a genuine overflow of your own study and you're just kind of going through the motions, then it always feels flat. We've talked about that before, but
yeah, sure.
So I think, you've got to always, whatever it is, has to come out of like a genuineness of kind of an overflow. If it's a game, have fun with the game. If it's a lesson or a message, then man, give it all you got.
Yeah, totally. And so I think the question to ask yourself, about when you're doing youth ministry and you're getting ready for a particular event, message, programming thing, whatever that is, game, even a game maybe that somebody else has planned that you've kind of released, are you excited about it? And I think a real gut check would be, are you excited about what you're doing? Period. And because I think that's going to impact your youth ministry overall. So I think that's huge. And Jimmy Fallon, again, we're talking about a trivial, talk show kind of thing here, but dude, he nails that. He's just always on. It's just always, oh, dude, this is the best. This is the best. Which kind of leads into number 2 just a little bit here, which is every person he interviews is the best. Now, I pulled that out separate for a reason. But if you ever hear him talking, like, I guess the flow, typically somewhere in the front part of that, he talks about, hey, here's who we have on the show. And he'll say often, like, oh, they're the best. Man, they're the best. She's the best. Or a music artist. Man, she's the best. Or they're the best. They're the best. They're just the best, right? Now, obviously, we all know that everybody can't be the best. Like, I get that. And at times it's kind of like, yeah, okay, he's the best or whatever, but there's an excitement thing there that I think is contagious. Now, the way I think that applies to what we do is we really do need to love people like that. We really need to think of kids, and we need to think of our adults in that same way. Because imagine how the people that are hearing that receive that. If they're sitting back in the green room waiting to come on, or they're watching an episode, maybe they're coming on next week and they're thinking about that, and they hear, oh man, Jimmy Fallon, man, he's just super pumped that I'm coming on. That's awesome, right? If we act like every time, man, we see a teenager, when we see them on a Sunday, we see them on a Wednesday night, if we not act as in we pretend, but if we can dig down and really try to genuinely be excited to see that person, know who they are, see them, and acknowledge them, I think they will start to feel way more value. And I think it's an opportunity for us to really provide some amazing encouragement, to people that don't necessarily get that anywhere else. There's no question in your youth group that you've got some kids that are at the top, that are at the top of the dog pile. You know what I'm saying? You've got some kids probably in your youth group that are the popular kids. even if they're not the popular kids at school, within the youth group, there's always a seniority kind of. There's always some type of, order to things. If you can somehow convince the kids that feel like they're at the bottom, that you're just as excited when they walk in as whenever the kid that's kind of always there, that's always the one volunteering. I mean, man, I think that's going to go a long way. But is it fair to say, Jody, that we often, the kids that are easy to get along with, that are excited to be there, that are the ones to quickly raise their hand to play the best games, it's sometimes easier to get more excited about them than the other kid that's quiet, walking in, wanting to play on their phone or whatever.
Yeah, sure it is. Same thing with leaders. You've got volunteers, and hopefully you have volunteers, but you have volunteer leaders some are just naturally more dynamic than others. And so I think a lot of times we forget to encourage and champion those leaders too, especially in front of students. And I think that's the other component here, is that like he's saying all that and championing them in front of an audience.
Yes.
So whether it's students or leaders, not just championing them privately, but in front of, for lack of a better, in front of an audience, is really helpful. So
totally.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I put it on there, Jody, because it's good. I'm just kidding.
I would expect nothing less. I mean,
yeah, whatever. I'm just messing with you.
Number 3. Okay, this one's terrible.
This one's terrible. I don't know why I put it on here. No. Number 3. This is good too. They're all good. You know what? It's the best. This is the best.
This one's the best. This one's the best.
Number 3. This is crazy too. He is willing to play and do anything. I don't know. Again, I don't know how much you've watched. And some people are probably listening going, I don't even watch this guy. But but he's willing to play and do anything. I mean, he's out there smacking eggs on his head, getting wet. Now, of course, the nice thing is he's got a brand new, a totally another fresh suit right around the corner, and somebody that's going to come out and fix his hair back up for him and put his makeup on, whatever. So, but that said, there's an attitude there where he's just willing to do it, and get in and play. I'm guilty in my 20s because I'm not wired in a way where I like to get messy and do.
I'm shocked to find that out.
Be quiet. I'm just not wired that way, And Philip Higginbotham is listening, who was in my youth group, and he's a listener, so he's probably like, "Duh, yeah, I don't know, that was true." You be quiet, Philip. And so anyway, I just wasn't wired that way, and as a result, I was a little bit reserved as a youth pastor, and I think there are some youth pastors out there. Now, some are great at this. They're just like, well, yeah. They're going, duh, man, I'll do anything, whatever. I think there are some folks that are kind of reserved. And that's where I would say, man, it might be worth learning that it's super helpful to be willing to just kind of get in there and be a part of stuff, And
yeah, and I think, like what we're not saying is be something you're not, or be somebody you're not, or that you always have to be the out front crazy. I think you just need to be willing to go beyond your comfort zone.
Yes.
For the sake of kids, who just, I don't know, need you to model that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Every once in a while, it's just okay to kind of put it out there.
It's almost better if you're not normally that way, and then every now and then you kind of step out and do something like that.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's super impactful.
I mean, it's just a great moment, like let's say you go to camp and they have a theme night, right? At this camp you go to, and they've got 80s night. Like, so if you kind of secretly kind of plan something just amazing and you roll up in there, obviously knowing your culture. Now, if nobody else in the group is doing it and you're like the weird youth pastor doing it, okay, well, let's not go there, right? But I'm talking about if everybody's kind of in it, you don't want to be the one that's not in it. everybody's kind of playing, you know, muck wars or whatever. You want to be willing to get just as nasty, as the next guy, and it'll go a long way, and it just keeps you on the same plane. And again, that's one of the things I love about watching what he does. Is he's just right there, willing to make a complete fool of himself, And I think he even pretends like it, plays it, like fakes it sometimes, even when he's not.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I just want to say that was number 3, right?
Yes.
It was the best.
Yeah. Be quiet. And okay. Number 4. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. This one's good. There's a little bit of a deep dive here. This is one of the things, folks, if you're listening, hear this one. This one's big. That they do that. I'm telling you, your youth group will benefit from this one. Huge. Every game they ever play is always taken to the next level.
Safely.
With theming.
Yes.
Music, graphics, props, etc. And
that's a great point.
Watch. That's why I put it in here, Jody.
It's the best. But
we're a little testy with each other today, aren't we? Yeah. So
time different. It's because it's early, and I'm.
No, I'm telling you, dude. Like every game, but it's huge if you can get this down. And what I can think of a couple of examples here, and you can help me out with some as well, right? Okay, so let's talk the old classic. Let's throw a classic. I'm making this one up on the fly. It's one thing to play gorilla beats the man, right? Gorilla beats the man, man beats gun, gun beats the gorilla. If you tie, you die.
Yep.
Jimmy Fallon, all of his games are what I call ball and bucket games. If you watch all of his games, they're not Ellen type games. Like if you watch Ellen, you're going, that would be amazing, but I could never do that. Jimmy Fallon games, you can grab some eggs and put them on the table.
Right.
100%. Right.
Yep.
So if you're like, hey, it's time to play a game and we're going to play gorilla beats the man, man beats the gun, gun beats the gorilla. And if you just stand up and go, okay, who wants to play a game? And you just play that. All right, that's fine. And maybe they have fun playing the game. But if you're like, hey, it's time to play, and boom, a gorilla beats the gun, man beats all that pops up on the screen. There's a slide that's got music playing behind it, right? Because you've taken the time to kind of rip if you don't know how to do this stuff, you need to learn this stuff. You've got music on the slide with a graphic or whatever. And on top of that, you've grabbed a couple props of some type that fit that game. Dude, money.
Yeah, and what you're saying is you have to be intentional in advance to plan that out too. Like you're not going to be sitting there 10 minutes before going, oh man, what game are we going to play tonight? And then like most likely be able to kind of whip up all that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to take some time to go into Keynote or PurposeCenter or Canva or whatever and make the graphic and then find the music,
And don't underestimate. Listen, there are kids in your youth group
who can do that.
Thank you. Who can currently do that. We did this last night. Current example, practical example. We started the Impossible Shot last night. If you don't know what the Impossible Shot is, go check out the Download Youth Ministry Facebook group. It's talked about on there a ton. I think it has its roots way back to even Kurt Johnson back at Saddleback days. Basically, the way we're using it is it's this target in the room that if you bring a friend, both you and your friend get to take one shot at the Impossible Shot. The Impossible Shot is kind of impossible. I shot at it 10 times yesterday and got within 6 inches one time. That was the closest I got. But it is technically possible, and they get a huge gift card if they make it, right? Well, it'd have been easier to say, hey, we're going to throw that up there. There it is. Hey, okay, if you're doing the Impossible Shot, come on stage. Well, the way we took it, Jimmy Fallon, next level is slide, countdown, Mission Impossible scenes of Tom Cruise running, because he only does movies where he can run really fast. And
he, with his hands really high. Ever noticed he runs with his hands really
Well,
high?
totally. Yeah, totally. But I mean, he's Tom Cruise, so he can do what he wants.
Yeah, but he
but
runs with
we
them
took
by
it-
his face. They're like way up by his face.
Yeah.
They're not just. He's not just like.
But to even break down real practical, so we had the countdown, bam, Mission Impossible music, bam, the bow and arrow, bam, right? What we used to do it. It was a Nerf bow and arrow, just to be clear, not like a real arrow. And
So
then,
it's a foam arrow.
And then the foam core thing stuck up on that we used that we made, and then we had a spotlight on the deal, but you're tracking with me. It's the taking it to the next level. It's going to, it's going that extra mile for that type stuff. If you're playing a Thanksgiving, game where you got a couple kids on stage doing something, it's going to Walmart and buying some turkey hats. And the kids that are playing aren't just getting up on stage to play, but they're also wearing turkey hats. If you start to get in this mindset, it'll affect everything. So I'm in Walmart last week before last, and the Christmas clearance looking around, and they have all of these humongous, funny looking Christmas hats that are like super soft, super any kid could wear. I mean, they're gigantic. They're like 3 times as big as your head or whatever. But they're really funny looking and really hokey looking. Think Christmas suits, like kind of in that kind of funny, whatever. And they're marked down to $3 a piece. And I was
bought them all.
I bought 2, 4, 6. I bought 8, 2, and I bought 2 of each kind. I don't even know how I'm going to use them yet because Christmas is 11 months away. But I bought them because I'm like, oh, if we play a game and we have partners in the game, and it's a Christmas game, I can also make them wear these hats.
It's great.
Next thing. So again, I think you're tracking with me on this thing, but if you'll watch what he does, if again, watch some of the games he does, and he names them the most lame things too. It's like, hey, it's time for ball and bucket, but then all of a sudden it's like ball and bucket, but of course he has the roots
come in and they've got the,
so that's nice, but you got iTunes, so whatever. Just don't give me any excuses. Make it good.
That's great.
All right. That's that. Okay. You like that one?
All right. This is the last one. Did you save the best for the last?
Nope.
Okay.
But this is more of a personal thing. So here's one of the things I do like about, and why I think he's successful, is this. He has clearly embraced who and what he is.
Yeah. It's good.
There's no question that he's just kind of comfortable in the fact that he is he's not the star, even though he is the star. Of the Tonight Show, he recognizes that the success of what he's doing is more tied to the people that he's got coming on that are willing to do the crazy things he wants them to do. And he's also not trying to be Tom Cruise. He's going to let Tom Cruise be Tom Cruise or any other star. And he's going to be the comedian, funny guy that's willing to take a hit and have enough humility or whatever. And humility is a strong word, because when we think humility, we think more of a spiritual sense, But I think there's some humility there in him, in the sense that, again, he's willing to be the one to be embarrassed or whatever. Now, the reason I put this on here is I think sometimes youth pastors get really caught up in our place in this world, or our place in church world, I should say, and often even at our church, when we're the youth pastors, and a lot of we're not always being asked to sit at the big table.
Right.
We're not always being asked to our strong opinions. And honestly, there are adults that if something big goes down, they don't really necessarily think to bring us in the loop on it. There's no doubt there's some crusty old deacons that think, man, I don't know if I'd want to invite that guy into the conversation. Man, all he does is play games on Wednesday nights with the kids. I get that. But I think, Jody, that one of the keys to longevity is that you have to really understand your role. And you have to be willing to say, look, I'm not the senior pastor. I'm not ever
Sure.
going to be sitting. I'm not that. I'm not the worship pastor. I'm probably not going to ever get paid as much as those guys. That's just realistic. I'm not going to get the same perks. The family in the, church that has the tickets to the ball game probably going to give them to the pastor. I'm going to be like the last one they think about giving them to, sometimes. That's not always true, but I'm making big, broad strokes here. But man, if you can get to the point where you're just willing to go, hey, this is who I am.
Well, and I think that comes into,
and I love it.
I think part of that comes into like not being like, not looking at other youth pastors who you would deem successful and feeling like you have to be like them. Like that's like Jimmy Fallon doesn't try to be Jay Leno.
Nope.
Right? I mean, he's totally different. He's not trying to be David Letterman. He's not trying to be like anybody who of the guys who've come before him who you would deem like incredibly successful, or even others now around him on other shows. I think he just is who he is. He embraces his strengths, and I think he comes across very genuine. And he seems to be, very well liked by everybody who comes on the show. And, I guess when he comes on, we can find out. But for right now, we'll make those assumptions. I think I just see a lot of youth pastors trying to be another youth ministry, or trying to be another youth pastor, and not really trying to be the best version of what they have and the most faithful version to what they have. And I think that is a reason a lot of us burn out or step away or leave, because you feel like you just can't ever measure up. And that's like an identity crisis, and so I think that's great. That's such a helpful point. And I'll say this too, for those listening, regardless of your circumstance or your situation, how big or small your ministry or your budget is, or the town you're in, listen, it doesn't just because you would end up at a bigger or you're at a smaller ministry doesn't mean you're not fighting a comparison battle. There's always somebody else to look at and look to, because we only see the best of the outside of everybody.
Or you're listening to podcasts in this social media world that we live in. It's easy to follow any other church and any other youth ministry on social media, and you see a Wednesday night post of their gabillion kids, and you look at your 10, and you're like, oh man, I think to get back to the point where you're just going, man, this is where God's put me right now. This is who I am and what I am. It will be interesting to see with him. It's one thing as what is he, maybe 40 something, you think? What do you think? I don't know how old he is.
Younger than you.
I don't know if he is or not. He might be about my age.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, I'm Googling right now.
He seems younger than you.
That's me typing. That's me pulling up right here. There's Twitter. There's YouTube, Wikipedia. He is 4 years younger than me. He was born in 1974. And so what I'm saying there, though, is it will be interesting to see when he's 55 if he's still doing, messy games and whatever. I think he will. I think so, because I think it's who he is. And I do think, here's the deal. There's no reason he can't. And folks, I'm telling you, obviously Jody and I would not be doing this. There's no reason as a 50-year-old, I'm not going to be able to keep doing the things I'm doing. I know I'm the dad in the room, but even when I'm 55, I just think that it's possible. I can't pretend I'm not going to go out and dye my hair. I'm not going to get a hairpiece or, or any of those type of things, I'm not going to wear skinny jeans that you shouldn't be wearing, whatever, I'm going to try to be who I am and what I am, but yeah, it's huge. So there you go. That's it,
Those
man.
Are great.
Jimmy Fallon's rules for a great youth ministry.
Those are good.
Not endorsed by Jimmy Fallon in any way. No connection to Jimmy Fallon in any way. We claim no relationship with Jimmy Fallon or Tonight Show or NBC or any of that stuff. I want to be clear. This is just.
But we do want him to come on the show.
That'd be fun, man. I doubt that he would want to, but yeah, great. So
why not? We're the best.
Why not? We're the best.
Chris,
well,
you're the best.
Jody, you're the best. You're the best, Jody. Hey, listeners, guess what? You're the best.
You're the best.
You're the best.
Yeah, you're the best.
You're the bestest. Speaking of the best, don't forget YM360. They are amazing. And here's what's crazy is I really do think they're the best. They're the awesomest, right? You know, that's not a word.
Yeah.
But they really do kick butt at what they're doing. So
they do a fantastic
that
job.
should be their tagline: kicking butt for Jesus, one kid at a time.
I'll pass that along.
I'm going to pass that along to him. Yeah. Okay. So
cool. Well, all right. Well, hey,
right,
thanks. Thanks everybody for listening today. Again, if you like the show, make sure you subscribe to it so you get it each and every time it comes out and all the goodness because, well, it's the best. And then make sure to check out YM360. Show notes page will be at thelongerhaul.com/episode 080. And I think that's it for today.
Homework. If this has all been like, what the heck is he talking about? Just go on YouTube and search some of Jimmy Fallon's games and stuff. And in light of what we've said, look for those moments. Yeah. So there you go. That's your homework. That's your homework there, friends. Right. Get her done.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Later.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast at www.thelongerhaul.com.